Unless you have been living under a rock, you have probably already heard about the 2021 Ford Bronco. It is hitting the internet by storm. It is going absolutely everywhere. Articles, headlines, homepages, and YouTube videos everywhere. But today we're going to dive into what I think that the Ford Bronco got right so far from what we know, and maybe a couple things that it got wrong. So let's dive into it. This thing is awesome, and I think the off-road segment of automotive needed this. And the Jeep Wrangler, as good as it is, needs some competition, and I think it's finally here. So let's take a look. So as you can see, the Ford Bronco is all new, totally, haven't seen anything like this in a long time. And for things that it got right, I'm going to start out with pretty simple here, the design. The design is awesome. It's very rugged. It's much more, a little more sleek than the Wrangler, but it's not soft looking like a lot of cars and even trucks nowadays. It's very rugged, and it captures the look of the original Bronco, definitely like 60s and 70s vibe. And I think it does it very well. It really, really does mix modern and old school wrapped into one, and I just think they got it just right, and I'm very impressed. And number two, for things they got right, this one is kind of biased, kind of weird, but I am not a Ford guy. I'm definitely a Chrysler, I guess a Mopar guy, and even GM as well. We have a lot of GMs personally, but I'm not much of a Ford guy. But they don't have the Ford Blue Oval on here anywhere at all. It's kind of unique design. This Bronco has its own branding, and it shows throughout the vehicle. So you have the cool Bronco font, and then of course the prancing horse, like the Bronco horse logo. And I think it looks really neat. And it's kind of weird. Maybe doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but as not a big Ford guy, I would feel better driving this because it feels like a Bronco and not so much a Ford. So kind of a subtle thing that I think could work for a mass audience on this vehicle. And number three, for what they got right, was of course versatility and features. So they had to compete with the Wrangler. They had to do a lot of things because that's a tall order. And they certainly did. They have the two-door model. They have the four-door model, and they all have removable doors, removable top, many odd features that a lot of vehicles don't have. The Wrangler is very unique, and it's very good at what it does. And this seems to have a very good start on chasing the Wrangler. It does all pretty much the things a Wrangler does, but it has some features that are pretty cutting edge that people like me who own a Wrangler definitely don't have. So, they have a lot of like random stuff that is really cool. For example, the mirrors stay on when you remove the doors. Any Jeep Wrangler, any Jeep guy or gal knows out there when you take off the doors, you can't see anything. So you have to spend money on an aftermarket mirror that goes in while your door is off. And that's an added cost and added inconvenience. But it's pretty cool. The Bronco mirrors are fully attached to the vehicle at all times, doors or no doors. And small things like that, And then, it's got the tow hooks everywhere. It's got, like, the removable grab handles and stuff, or, like, movable on the interior. It's got somewhere to mount cameras and stuff. Very, very innovative and washable, like the interior of a Wrangler as well. So it's very rugged and very meant for off-road. It doesn't fool anybody about its identity. It's very much a rugged, fun off-road toy, and I think it captures that very well. Another thing they did right was trims. So this can appeal to a lot of different people. You have a base model with steelies. I think that's awesome that it has steelies in this day and age. You never see those. I thought those were dead. That's something that I like. I'm kind of weird like that. But then you have tons of different models. You have 7, including the first edition, so maybe 6 if you don't include that. And they just cover a lot of different looks, a lot of different needs. You have like a luxury one, like with the Outer Banks, and then you have like a full-on, I guess, Rubicon Fighter with the Wild Track, and just different looks and different features. Some are more rugged than others, some are stronger than others, but I think they did a good job of mixing flavors with all the different trims available. And then I also am very happy that they threw in a manual option for a stick shift. It's really cool. Something I've never seen in a modern car is they have a true, like, full-on crawler gear, granny gear, whatever you want to call it. So it is a 7-speed stick shift, but it's really a 6-speed on the road, and then you have a dedicated crawler gear before first for rock crawling, off-road, things of that nature. And I think that is awesome. Very, very cool. And whether it's a gimmick or not, I really like it. And then of course you have the 10-speed automatic, which I've heard great things about, so of course that's probably going to perform excellent as well. Things that they potentially got wrong, maybe that's too harsh of a way of putting it, but this one is the obvious, that's always controversial with off-roaders, is it has IFS, independent front suspension. So this thing, for 95% of people, is probably going to do great. It will do great on sand. It will do great on most off-road trails. I'm not saying that it's not good. It's probably going to be an excellent vehicle. True purists, like hardcore off-roaders, like myself, prefer solid axles. That's just kind of the old formula. It's tried and true. It's proven. And, that is the way usually hardcore off-road vehicles are built, is solid rear axle and solid front axle. No independent suspension in sight. So that is something different, something maybe controversial. But like I said, that is a small group. Most people won't put this thing, through its limits. It'll perform just fine for most weekend getaways, for most, regular trails and sand dunes and overlanding. I'm sure this will do just fine. But for the purists, if you want to nitpick, the independent front suspension could be seen as a knock below a Jeep Wrangler with obviously a solid front axle. Another thing that they could have got better is, maybe at least so far at launch, this could always change, is drivetrain. So we only have the Turbo 6, the Turbo 4, as the Wrangler has a turbo, or the Wrangler has a regular V6 and a Turbo 4 as well. But it, has a diesel option and maybe a Hemi option coming. I wish they would have had the Hemi for years, so that's kind of weird. But right now it looks like you have a little more choice on drivetrain in the Wrangler. They should have thrown the Coyote V8 in here, which of course they could. Maybe it's not happening yet, but that would have been very nice, because I know if I were to get one, I would definitely want the Coyote V8. Now, not everyone needs a V8. Some people are fine with 4s or 6s, but to see a diesel would be nice, and to see a V8 would be nice, just to have that extra pull in the segment. And then finally, if I have to gripe about what else is wrong, I'll be honest, there's not much wrong. There's not much wrong to gripe about on here. It's a great looking vehicle. It has got a good mix of rugged and tech. It's got the versatility. It's got the removable doors and roof. It's kind of just checks all the boxes it needs to compete against the Wrangler. So I think it's going to be a very, very good matchup. And we'll have to see how it does in the real world. I think it'll be very exciting to see. So with that being said, guys, what do you guys think about the Bronco? Were you one of the people that pre-ordered it already? It's a $100 deposit. You can order it now. And I just thought, leave your comments below if you're gonna buy Bronco, or what you think of the Bronco. Just tell me below. And my final gripe is a big nitpick. Is it's not here already. That's my final gripe. Is it's been a long time coming and it's still not here. So realistically, we're going to have to wait until mid next year. It looks like coronavirus, COVID-19, has obviously delayed this even more. It was speculated years ago and it still hasn't showed up. So it's been a long wait especially for Ford fans and Bronco fans. And we will have to wait at least probably 6 months, more likely 9 to 12 months, for this thing to start hitting the road. But it will be exciting. It will be here before you know it. And that is my final thing wrong with it, is that it's not here today. But that's not a big deal. This thing is awesome. Again, tell me what you think of the Bronco down below. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. Ring that bell. Hit that clicky red subscribe button. Click it until it turns gray, and then it has a check mark. That's how you know. And I know you guys know this already. I'm just messing with you. Have fun. Stay safe. And I'll catch you later.